What's going on, guys? This is Fletch here from Ultimate Halo. I really implore you guys to find the time to watch every single bit of this video. It's so incredibly interesting. A lot of it is quite a major topic in the community at the minute with the Halo art style with 343 Industries versus Bungie, and how that actually affects cosplayers, because cosplayers are incredibly talented people within this community. So please find the time to listen to what they're saying, because these people are very interesting, incredibly talented. And I also apologize for the untimeliness of this video. I recorded this quite a while ago, so I apologize to those involved, because they some of them went out of their way to do this. So thank you and enjoy the video, and please make sure you like it and comment in this comment section below.
Ultimate Halo.
Let's do it. What's going on, guys? This is Fletch here from Ultimate Halo, and today I am joined by some incredibly talented Halo cosplayers, and it's just an absolute pleasure to see these guys and some of the things that they've built. I mean, it makes me look like an untalented piece of shit, much like everybody else here on Ultimate Halo, looking at you, Kenny. So what I'm going to do, we're going to be talking about their influences with Halo, what got them into what they do today, because it is a pretty damn awesome thing that they do. And also, we are going to talk about some of the directions in art style that Halo has taken, how it may have impacted these guys in what they do, because it's a very interesting topic and conversation. So what I'm going to do, we're going to go through everybody one by one, and I'm going to go first on to Danielle. So please introduce yourself.
Oh, that's horrifying, being first up. Hi, I'm Danielle. I'm a cosplayer from Australia. My Facebook is Danielle's Headspace, and I'm also the executive officer of the Australian Regiment. I don't know what else to say.
Well, that was pretty fancy, first and foremost. Executive officer. Sounds like you got a lot of money.
Means that,
I think it's misleading. No, I'm not.
It is very misleading.
Yeah, but still, very cool. We'll move up next onto Jose. Jose, please introduce yourself.
Hey, my name's Jose Valdez. I'm from California, and I'm an armor fabricator for Armory Props. I co-founded the site about 4.5 years ago with a couple of friends of mine, and I've been doing this for about a living now for a very long time, and yeah, it's been a blast being able to bring one of my childhood games to life and make it a reality, being able to wear it, being able to, put it on display and things like that. So, excellent.
Kaitlin, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Kaitlin, also KitKat Goose on Instagram and Facebook and all that. I've been building for almost 4 years, probably. Almost always with EVA foam. I've made 2 suits of armor. One's for myself and one's for my kind of cosplay partner. Both are Reach suits.
Very good.
And I'm from Georgia.
From Georgia. Lovely. Now, Sage, the man who I organised this whole thing with, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Sage from Reclaimer Sage's Props. I am based in Utah, and I am part of the Mountain Regiment of the 405th. I've been doing this for about 2 years now, and I believe I'm the youngest person here. I'm only 17, but it's a great honor to be with everyone here, including Jack and my friends. So I'm excited to discuss this topic with armor and cosplay and everything else with Halo right here. So.
Excellent. And last but certainly not least, Robert, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Robert Letts with Letts Props. I also run a page called the Exploding Fist Attachment, which is dedicated to the EOD variant for Halo. I've been doing this for about 6 years. I am also the Division Identity Officer for the Halo 405th Global Costuming Group. And we're really glad that Ultimate Halo wanted to speak with all of us today about our fandom and our cosplay.
Well, it's a pleasure for myself also. And like I said, we will be covering quite a few topics in this video. And these guys are seriously talented. And I think there will be many links in the description for you all to go look at their shops, look at their work, and just see everything that these guys do, because it is absolutely fantastic. So what we're going to do first, we're actually just going to go around every person and understand what it is, what got them into Halo, what perhaps got them into Halo cosplay, what they love about Halo cosplay. I'm going to go in a bit of a random fashion at this point. So Jose, would you like to do the honours of going first?
Sure. Well, what really got me into Halo was obviously Combat Evolved. That was the first game I ever played. And growing up, it was the go-to game every day after school for a good 3 years because I couldn't really afford an Xbox myself, so I'd always crash at my friend's place and we'd go and play it. And we couldn't afford to get Halo 2 or even Halo 3 at that time, so we were only able to play Combat Evolved forever. That's pretty much what got me into Halo. And as far as the art style, it's really changed a lot over the years, starting from, Combat Evolved to Reach to, Halo 4, how they introduced it and whatnot. But I think a lot of people, have obviously different views as far as how it looks and the bulkiness, how it slims down and things like that. And I think it actually went in that direction for the better. It's not really the armor that protects the Spartan in the first place. It's always the undersuit, and that's where all the technology is really invested in. But obviously the outside armor is what really gets people going. Personally, I'm a huge fan of the Reach style. The art for that was always amazing. I love the bulkiness, just how massive it makes a Spartan look. As it goes further down the generations, it slims down, and the smaller armors are, they're obviously really cool, but it's obviously a lot of that you end up having to try to build. And that's, I think, a lot of the difficulty when it comes to cosplayers. You notice that a lot of the armor is gone, and now you're stuck with building a lot of just the the exosuit, I think that's what they call it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean,
but yeah.
Sorry, just on back of that, I think an interesting part is what you bring up as well, is that you guys aren't actually, a lot of you, might do this, you might sell some of your stuff. I think you said, did you say you do it for a career? Is this what you do as your job now?
Yeah, I've been doing this for about 4.5 years as a career. So it's definitely been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, and then on the other hand, I guess some people don't actually have, the resources. Some people might choose certain types of foams or other materials that might not be as flexible. You need durability, but you don't necessarily, it's that fine line. We'll keep the sort of art style. We'll sort of touch on that a little bit more in a little bit. I mean, we've learned what Jose's. Sort of got him into Halo, and obviously Halo Combat Evolved was that first thing. So if you would want to explain what got you into Halo, Kaitlin, and what your sort of inspirations are and what you'd like to do.
I'm similar. I love Reach's designs. I love how bulky it all is, and I love the colors too. Like, if you notice, the colors kind of get washed out in like 4 and 5. Like, they're a little lighter.
Okay.
But the red and the blue, like the primary red and blue in Reach, are like so red and blue, and I love it. And
so when did you first start with Halo? Yeah, that's it.
Probably a little over 4 years ago. Reach was the first game that I played. We had like a Halo party whenever it came out, and so I played it on my brother's Xbox, and I was like, I couldn't stop playing it, but he didn't want to let me play on his Xbox all the time. So I had to get one, and I played it like freaking constantly, and I was terrible at it for like 6 months, and then I got really good, thankfully.
That's what grinding is.
What?
Grinding.
Yes, basically I was grinding for 6 months straight, like every day, and I still loved it, even though I was terrible. And then I finally got good. And then I saw some people doing like Pepakura and stuff, and I tried that for a short amount of time, but it was a little too expensive and like not a art platform that I could understand super well. So a couple months later, I think that I saw Little Tyrants foam armor, and I was like, that is amazing. And I took a ton of inspiration from her because she was my similar size and stuff, and I was like, even though she's tiny, she can still look like a crazy awesome Reach Spartan. So I basically started from there, and it took me a couple years to make my first suit just because of being lazy and because of not like being super intimidated because I didn't know how to do any of it. But I'm really happy that I did, and I have upgraded a ton of my stuff on my first suit, and I'm super happy with it now.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, that's a good story as well. It shows that anybody can really get into cosplay, not just Halo, but cosplay as a concept. And, you know, I mean, I've been, I mean, the fans know, but I've been playing since Combat Evolved, and I was, how old was I? 6. I was 6 years old when that game came out. So being 21 now, I've aged as the games have aged, and I think I've aged worse than the games, but that's another point of contention. So next we are going to we'll go to Robert this time because I left you till last. So tell me about your experience with Halo. What got you into Halo and the world of cosplay?
I'm probably the oldest in this group here today.
Really?
I'm pushing
Band.
right now. I too started with Combat Evolved and have gone with every generation. My kids have grown up in my house with Halo around them. My 9-year-old could probably tell you more about Halo than I could at this point.
It's cool, though.
But I come from an art background anyways, but I had a friend of mine who introduced me to Pepakura, and the very first thing that I went after, which was about the time that Reach had came out, was my EOD variant. I was very interested in building a set of armor that was my multiplayer character in game. So my very first armor is the exact same set of armor that you see me running around in all the multiplayer games. And Reach is also my favorite as well. And I think it's not just because of the armors, but because the story was you actually, for me as Master Chief now in all the Halo games, it's kind of lost on me that I am that player. Master Chief is his own character, and I don't feel like I'm that player. But in Reach, I felt like I was Noble Six, like I was contributing to a team. And you were contributing to a team that was going up against unbeatable odds. You were not going to survive this. The best that you could do with this group was give others an opportunity. So for me, that's why the game was so iconic in the Halo universe. But my armor too, I really dig the bulkiness of it. There wasn't so much exposed. You felt like you were shrouded in this. So that's when I got started. I got started in 2010. The very first thing that I built was a test shoulder pauldron in Pepakura. And then from there, I jumped on the helmet and I pepped everything. And I spent about 2.5 years working on that set. There's probably 700 hours in my first armor, all fiberglassed out. And at that point, somewhere in there, I had discovered the 405th, had made a lot of friends. I had drawn a lot of inspiration from Hyperballistic on there, who is Stephen Lee, one of the Stony Props members. Very encouraging individual. I've been influenced by so many different people through the 405th and elsewhere. And my very first convention that I went to, all these people showed up and made me feel like one of them. You know, I felt like I had arrived in family. There was no judging about the quality of my armor. There was nothing but nice things to say. There was a lot of encouragement with the group. And so, you know, that's kind of what helped foster my love too for this community for doing Halo costuming, which is why I wanted to really get involved with the 405th in general, just as a unit. You know, I think there's a lot of good that we can do, similar to what the 501st does for, their charitable events and things of that nature. So I want to give back. And at some point, I'm going to be building a Master Chief suit for me locally, because I'd like to be able to go out to do charity events where kids recognize who I am, to kind of give them some inspiration and some hope.
Yeah. And to be honest, that's another great story of community. Everybody in this community who I've spoke to, and I'm quite in a privileged position to meet a lot of people. Everyone's just so welcoming. You guys already, I'm enjoying speaking to all the other guys on the YouTube scene. There's so many people I've met, and everybody's just so encouraging. And it's nice to hear. I mean, I don't know anything about cosplay, and I'll put that straight out on the table. And to hear it's a welcoming community. I mean, I would say I'd give it a go, but I mean, I'd probably just end up making a big pile of shit on the floor and wouldn't really know what I'm doing. So yeah, that's just another great community thing, which I love about Halo, and it's nice to hear in sort of little other sub-communities as well, so that's great. This time, we are going to go to Sage. Sage, would you please do me the honour of explaining what's got you into Halo and cosplay?
Well, I wasn't expecting me to be the next person right there.
Well, you are, so hit me.
So I got into Halo around 2008 when I went over to my cousin's house, and he had this awesome new game called Halo 3, and I'm like, I want to play this, but I don't know what I'm doing. Then every time I came over, me and him would just be up till the sun came up playing Halo 3, and that was a lot of fun. And but I'd say the thing that I love most about Halo is it's the first game that I got to play with the man who would eventually become my stepdad, and he's the greatest person ever. Me and him ended up playing Halo 2 when I was first introduced to him. Actually, when I was first introduced to him, I walked into my house. I saw this guy just sitting there on the couch. I didn't know who he was, and I walk up to my mom and ask him who he is, and she says, "Just ask him if he wants to play Halo with you." And me and him ended up playing Halo for the next 5 hours. I don't know how long, but that's why I love Halo so much. It's because it's the first experience I got to have with the man who would eventually become my father.
So family as well. That's another great thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great varied stories. This is awesome. So Danielle, you best have something good, otherwise I'm going to be very, very disappointed. Now go ahead. Tell me what it is, and you know the drill. I'm interested to hear what you've got.
I don't know how good it's going to be. I was only 5 when Halo came out, so I obviously didn't get to play it till I was much older. But I picked it up at a friend's house, and I just remember being so hooked on it. Like we were swapping controller backwards and forwards and playing Combat Evolved, and it was life-changing. I don't know how to quite explain like the instant connection that I had with the game. It was honestly mental. I didn't get an Xbox and my own copy of Halo until later again, which was around the time when Reach came out, which I've noticed is a very common theme between all of us. We all really like Reach. Yeah, and I think what got me into the 405th and Halo cosplay was I was in high school and I had a bootleg copy of Combat Evolved, and I spread it around the whole school. We all had laptops, and oh, it's so bad. I spread it around the whole school, and so you would be in class and everyone is playing Halo, and it was all my fault, and no one was getting any work done, but we're all just sitting there partying up, playing Halo in the middle of school. It was horrible.
Just clear to be Microsoft, I do not facilitate this. I'm a perfectly legal individual, and I facilitate not. Go ahead, Danielle. I just want to throw that disclaimer in there. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, and I think soon after the Halo epidemic that was high school, I stumbled across Red versus Blue, which then led to just like looking up a bunch of other Halo stuff online rather than just playing it. Like I started being involved in the online communities surrounding Halo. And from there I literally just ended up on the 405th. I have no idea how I got there. I was looking at all these really awesome things that people were building and like wearing and getting to be these awesome characters and really just have great fun. And I started researching, like I just saving tutorials and files, and just it all sort of cascaded from there.
Awesome. So the main thing to take out of this one, this definitely is a step up. It's piracy. Don't pirate games, kids. So
yeah, don't do that.
No. So but yeah, I mean, it was quite easy back then in those days. That is an interesting point as well. Though you'd you don't literally get killed doing it these days, and it's near impossible, nearly. So yeah, no, that's great. I mean, really good varied stories there, and I'm quite interested, you know, just varying from Jose having it as, you know, his job, which is awesome, you know, just the community, family, piracy, all sorts of other things. It's just, that's awesome. I literally love listening to sort of people's stories with Halo, because I think everybody has got a really interesting one, except for me. I was just 6 and then I started playing it. That's pretty much it. And then I did get involved with Ultimate Halo, but that is a massive pleasure in itself, and this is why I have the pleasure to do what I do. So when you brought up Red versus Blue, and they asked a very important question. You ever wondered why we're out here? And that leads to why are we here in this podcast? Why are we here? And the question is, or more the topic around it is, the art style around Halo. And it's something that me and Sage, we're really sort of having a chat about. And I can't remember how long ago. Did you approach me? Did I approach you? Do you remember?
I approached you very nervously about the topic because I was like, okay, after watching Wang Time's videos, I believe that we could kind of add on to what he mentioned about the Halo armor and kind of add some points from our perspective as builders, because we actually bring this stuff into real life. So I guess we understand Halo armor a lot more than people that just play the game, because we're actually literally putting pieces together, getting details. We're paying attention to what the armor looks like just so that we can get it as accurate as possible in real life. So
okay, I mean, so on the back of that then, we'll start with you, Sage. Give it a balanced point of view. You know, tell me about the good things. You know, maybe if there's any benefits to the new art style, what you might like about the new art style, and as a cosplayer, what hurdles or barriers have you had maybe adapting, or things that might just flat out not work, you know?
Well, coming to what's been going on with the art style from for the new Halo games with 4 and 5 and eventually what's going to be 6 and I don't know how many years, the art style has changed so drastically, and with how detailed it is. And that's the thing for me. I do my best to get as much detail and accuracy as possible in my props, because I'm more interested in building props than I am in armor. But with the way the art style for Halo 4 and 5 is, it is, I don't want to sound bad, but it feels like detail decided to just throw up on a canvas. There's so much of it, and I've actually needed to put down my binary rifle a few times because I was like, I can't get this detail. It's gonna interfere with another part of this that I've already got done, and it's just so overly designed, and it's really hard for me to be able to concentrate on one specific spot if it's gonna mess with another part of the item that I'm working on.
Okay.
And like the Halo Reach armor, I'm getting started on a Halo 5 suit myself, and when I was looking through the files, and actually Danielle helped me with the file for the helmet, the Athlon helmet, and she just hated that thing so much. Actually, Danielle,
the little grill. Just the American football style helmet grill thing on the front. I don't know what you would call that, but the piping on it it was a nightmare. I think I ended up giving up and just sending you like a half done file because I just couldn't unfold the little tubes that go around the jaw area of the helmet.
Yeah, I've come up with a solution for that. I'm going to use some old wires that my dad just threw into the trash. But yeah, just the amount of detail and the kind of ways that is put into all of that, especially for Pepakura. Halo 5 files usually have so much detail and so many curves and cracks, and it's so overly designed compared to something sleek and simple like a CQB helmet, which is one of my most favorite Halo helmets of all time.
So that was Bungie then, essentially, because Bungie were known, they didn't over-design things. Things were, as from an art perspective, things were relatively simple, but what defined them was the shapes that they actually had. When you ask me, I say everything in a Halo game has a specific shape. You look at a plasma pistol. I mean, yeah, it's a rounded little thing, but I mean, the thing is just a little circular hologram at the top, and that it's a stigma. You know, you see it straight away. It's I'm looking at a plasma rifle in the background. You know, relatively basic, curved at the top, handle in the middle, a blue stripe where the thing.
I think
the ammo counter, right?
I think to your point, Fletch, was that the silhouettes were very carefully considered up until 343 took over, and I think 343's approach was, yes, let's add more detail, let's do something that's a little different art style wise, and I don't really think that they considered the silhouettes. I mean, it's pretty telling when you can look at one of the many art pieces that's been put out there, posters of all the weapons or ship profiles and things like that you can tell what's what based on just silhouette images and not these full details. I think if you were to take the 200 some odd armor sets that are now in Halo 5 and silhouetted them, you would have a very hard time telling what's what from each other. Because really the detail is what makes those stand apart from each other. Not so much the silhouette profile of the armor styles. If you were to take, say, from Reach, Carter's armor and George's armor and June's armor and Kat's armor, and you were to do all those images as silhouettes, you would still be able to tell what's what.
Absolutely.
Whereas now I don't think the silhouettes are as strong as probably what they were before, which means that whereas the shapes were a little more simplified and defined, they're much more detailed and complex.
Yeah. And I think it's more finding that balance, because Bungie knew the right amount of detail. And don't get me wrong, I think 343 have some excellent artists. I think it's just maybe identifying what makes Halo's art unique and why. You look at some of the work they do, and the 3D modelers, the 2D artists, they all do great things. But maybe
I think what changed was when they were going to the community, the professional community, to develop armor sets for Halo 4 and Halo 5, they were providing those artists with one common item, which was a tech suit. Yeah. And they were asking these artists to put armor on top of that. So they really were starting with this tech suit base, like what Jose was, referring to earlier in the conversation about that being where the strength of the Mjolnir armor set really comes into play, is in the technology that's built into that undersuit for all of the armor shield features and things of that nature. And it became less really about the pieces that were on it, even though they spend a lot of time putting all these wonderful descriptions at the bottom of each armor in game about what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So on the back of that, I think this time, because I ever so rudely, I'm sorry, Jose, I cut you off about that, but we're going to wait a little bit. So Jose, would you like to explain to me what your thoughts are and what hurdles you might face, if that's at all possible?
Sorry, what was the question?
So just to, what hurdles have you faced with the new art style? What might you like about the art style that 343 have? What don't you like? What do you like? Just your thoughts around art styles and cosplay at the moment.
Sure. Obviously, like I said, and I jumped the gun there with the question earlier, is obviously the undersuit is probably one of the more difficult parts that a lot of the Halo community has probably struggled with. You constantly see people revamping their armors like every other month just because they find different ways to create the tech suit underneath move more freely and whatnot, as opposed to before where the Reach armor was more of a tank. You didn't really have to worry about what was underneath as much because you had so much on top covering everything underneath. So you really, the only concern you had was that ab section. And I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of people really gravitated towards Halo Reach. And people still gravitate a lot towards Halo Reach builds. It's because it's not that it's easier. It's just that it looks stronger. You feel a little bit better with it and whatnot as far as movement. You get more confidence out of it. When it gets to Halo 4 armor and when it comes to building it, it becomes a lot more difficult. So people tend to kind of get discouraged when it comes to building it. And it becomes a lot more difficult to make armor for it just because of that undersuit. Not to take anything away from it. It's build. The art is absolutely amazing for the Halo 4 armor. But again, it's probably one of the biggest hurdles that a lot of people come to, try to get over because of just how much less armor there is and more tech suit that is involved. And I can kind of see where 343 was going with this. They want to make the Spartans look more sleeker. They want to make them look faster. They want to make them look like they can. They added that feature, clamber. So, in the Reach armor, it would look almost impossible to be able to climb anything with that type of suit. When you got the Halo 4 suits, you just look like you can, jump a wall if you wanted to with ease. So, it's absolutely all styles, all art styles of every suit from, Reach to Halo 4 to Halo 5 are absolutely beautiful. There's nothing wrong with them. But again, when it comes to at least being able to build something, I think everyone agrees that Reach was probably one of the easier armor sets to build. And I think there's a theme going on here. I think everyone is in love with Reach. I think everyone's ended on that note, which I feel like a group is going to end up attacking us for that. They're like, there's always those people that just are opposed to a certain game.
Well, to be fair, I think, Reach, from an art perspective, I know people who didn't necessarily like the art style. I don't think they like the grittiness. In terms of, of a model perspective, I think everything had its place. Everything was unique. Artistically, it is one of my favourite games. The main thing that I love Reach for is actually the skyboxes, because damn, some of those skyboxes were out of this world, quite literally. The pun wasn't intended, but so that was awesome. I really like that bit about it. So I'm gonna hope I haven't been to any of these people. I tell you what, because you went last time, Danielle, would you like to explain to me Cosplay, where it's at the moment, and the art style, and just the main theme, what we've been talking about?
I think I'm going to jump on the Reach bandwagon here as well, because
no surprise.
The kind of the art style of Halo, something that I've noticed that's a trend that is like sort of developing now, is previously Bungie had a really clear-cut, blocky, militaristic view of how the UNSC looked compared to the rather slim and sleek alien species. There were always that sort of defined line down the middle that said anything that is sort of smooth and rounded sort of is alien, and the big blocky, tanky military stuff belonged to the humans. And there was always that sort of distinction, like mentioned before, with the silhouettes and their presence was just the humans' tech, from the Spartans to the ships to the weapons. Everything was blocky, everything was bulky, everything looked like it came straight out of a tank. Whereas the aliens, everything was sleek and shiny and just like otherworldly. So there was that distinct line between the two species, or like the two factions that play into the Halo universe. And now it's reached this gray area, and it goes with the story of the game. And I can understand, like everyone else mentioned, why the art style has changed to fit the new mechanics, and why they might have decided that less armor and more tech suit is the way to go. I understand all of that, and I think they're doing a great job with it, but it just feels like everything is being like mixed together. And I guess in the story it is being mixed together too, with I don't really know how to put it into words, but it's like don't know. I've lost my train of thought.
So it's almost like because essentially the humans are sort of they always have been a spacefaring race, but now they are coming to the advancement. I mean, they've had foreign technology influence their technology. You look at the Infinity, things are more curved, and you notice now in the art style a lot. Human stuff, they're using a lot more white and really light greys, whereas before everything was like fences, meshes, dark greys, black and yellow tape, sort of zigzag lines. There was a lot of that previously, and that's kind of just literally gone out of existence.
I think absolutely have merged a lot more of the alien influence into the new designs. Yeah.
So, any last comments on that, Danielle? Anything else you want to add to that?
Oh, just to agree that Reach suits would be easier to build, and they have more of a like the earlier Bungie designs, the more blocky militaristic designs have a bigger presence in real life, and I have to agree that they are more exciting and more pleasing to build and to look at and to wear than the Halo 4 and 5 suits, of which that I've built 2 of. While they're great to move around in and while they still look awesome, they just don't have that
presence.
They don't have that presence of being like, hey, I'm this giant, great big super soldier from outer space, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I did have a point to add to that, but it has eluded me at this stage. If it comes back to me, I'll bring it up. So, Kaitlin, you've been sat there quiet for a little while. As with the other guys, let me know your thoughts. Have I asked you this question? Have you explained it?
I don't think so.
No? Okay, let's roll it. Go on. Go ahead.
As far as a building perspective on it, it's very, very different things. There would be a lot more sewing if you decided for fabric for the undersuit for Halo 5 or 4. Or weird foam building, like people use other foams for undersuits, and that seems very uncomfortable, but it looks awesome a lot of the time. Also, the armor pieces themselves, like Halo Reach, is a very, like you were talking with the silhouettes, it's very, most sets of Reach armor are pretty similar. Like, they all have a lot of the same base pieces, and they're all very, like, structured and kind of squared off. But with Halo 4 and 5, there's a lot of rounded parts that are sometimes harder to get with foam or with Pepakura, because, I don't know, getting something round is way harder than getting it just a seam. Which is what I'm going to have a hard time with. Luckily, I like the square stuff, so when I do my Halo 5 suit, it's going to be a lot more square, but there's some pieces that are just, like, so bumpy and round. I don't know how you could get that without using a lot of, like, seam filler and stuff if you were doing EVA foam.
So sorry, you did mention, I mean, you talk about undersuits here. I mean, that was basically the premise for Sage to bring all this up for me in the podcast. With that said, let's say if you were to make a Reach undersuit versus a Halo 5 undersuit, now obviously there is a little bit of a contrast in how they are, and a lot of it's might be the armor built around it. But what would you say the differences are, or the difficulties are making one from Reach, let's say, compared to Halo 5? Would you say there's a massive difference in how you'd create it?
I would, because for 5, there's so much of it that's undersuit that you kind of have to figure out how it is actually like a suit, whereas in Halo Reach, you could put just an ab piece, and you wouldn't have to worry about a ton of other details or connecting it to other parts, because you could do other tiny parts in between armor pieces. With Halo 5, it's like you kind of have to actually create an entire underneath of it so that it all flows together, because so much of it is seen.
Yeah, so there's a lot of exposure when it comes to the Halo 5 undersuits,
Yeah.
you'd say, more than anything.
And it's a lot thinner too, so you would actually, like, with Reach, you could add EVA foam ab pieces because it's kind of thick and, like, there's ridges and stuff, but in 5, it's like there are tiny parts that come out a little farther, but it'd be pretty skin tight to still have that, like, figure of the Halo 5 Spartan.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I suppose as well, I mean, like I briefly touched on earlier, I guess there would be this sort of durability versus aesthetics thing as well, because there's no point of building something if it's just going to fall to pieces, you know, a month later. So I can see the sort of difficulty in that regard as well. Robert, I know you have sort of briefly talked about it, but I mean, you haven't really had your individual piece. So, I mean, would you want to just give me your thoughts and, you know, obviously the topic?
Absolutely. You know, my Reach undersuit, when I built it, I got a basic, you know, black set of Under Armour, and I did some additions to it. I added an ab piece, an ab wrap, like what they were saying. Also, there were some round circular elements, some pieces behind the knees, and some pieces on the elbow area, which were just little bits of foam that I added to my undersuit. It was really pretty simple. Most of it's pretty well covered right here on my Reach armor. We move forward to my Halo 4 armor, and boy, it's a different ball of wax altogether. You know, one of the challenges with Halo 4 and 5 is there's a lot of little floaty bits that need to be attached. So, say like my Hazop armor, this is a kneecap. There's nothing that attaches to it. I mean, it's a pretty small piece.
Super glue. Come on, Robert. Jesus. Super glue it. That'll work. Swing it. God.
Did my video just freeze?
No, you're good.
Yeah, you're just chopping in and out a little bit.
You're good. We can still hear you.
Right here is my shoe. I don't know if you can see that, but you know, this is a little floaty bit, you know, for this piece of armor. And I had an undersuit that was just some decorative type stuff that I had done. I wasn't really happy with it, but again, there's a lot of little floaty bits. So I'll show you what my Halo 4 undersuit actually looks like. I actually bought a dye sublimated suit because of all of the detail. You know, for us to be able to get something that has all of that print detail in it, you know, or to make it is really, really difficult. I know Brian Dole over at BMP Props, he made a bunch of dragon skin undersuit plates, and I got some of those. And it's like, okay, well, how am I going to sew all this silicone down to an undersuit for starters? I know Michael Vrogop over at Vrogy, Props by Vrogy, he's got a bunch of the little hard bits that he's modeled and printed up that we're all looking forward to. But I've kind of opted for a middle of the road approach. So I bought an undersuit, relatively inexpensive online. There's a couple places that do it. There's a couple of great artists who have got the pattern available. I modeled up a couple of plates, like my hip plates. I actually had my back piece, my spine plate, my butt plate is all snapped and Velcroed down now. And these little bits that I've got now, they snap down. So I have these little floaty bits that just snap into plate. But obviously, way more involved. There's a lot more time that I've had to spend trying to consider how I want my undersuit to be and all the parts attached to it and still kind of get that iconic Halo look. Much more involved. So not only have I spent time working on individual armor pieces, I've also spent time trying to figure out this undersuit nightmare because I want to get a suit that's as canon as possible. That's just kind of the goal of most everybody here, I think, is to build accurate armor sets and accurate prop weapons. You know, we want to go out and not be mistaken for Transformers.
Yeah. It's a good point.
That's happened to me.
And I can say that's actually happened to me, among other people. Talk to our buddy Brad over at Impact Props. He'll tell you how many times his yellow suit got mistaken for Bumblebee.
Told us that story the last time me and him were in a chat with Robert.
But you know, we the undersuit is definitely a challenge. Just because of the floating pieces of armor, there's so much more of it exposed. I will say that mobility-wise, it is much easier for me to go out and do action stuff and things of that nature because you're not as restricted in your abdomen area with that big giant belt and things of that nature like I have over here. And again, too, there's differences in building styles. Those people that are still doing Pepakura with paper and then fiberglassing, that's a much more rigid armor. So your mobility is a lot less, especially in Reach armor. For me, the mobility wasn't nearly as much as I wanted it to be. Again, I felt great because I felt like I was a walking tank. You know, I step into 50 pounds of that and I feel awesome. Whereas I step into 20 pounds of my Halo 4 armor and I don't feel quite as badass as I do in that thing. So, you know, so there are some differences and some advantages, but building in foam and other methods, foam definitely allows for a lot more mobility. Not having your abdomen area as restricted in Halo 4-5 armor definitely helps with action. It's just being able to pull it off and pull it off well. And I don't think any one builder as of today has found a great way to recreate the undersuit that feels like a Halo 4-5 Spartan tech suit. I just don't think anybody has been able to do that yet. And until we actually get something that's sculpted, that's form-fitting, that fits like a wetsuit, I don't think anybody's going to be there yet. I think we're still away.
And also doesn't kill you from heat.
That's right. That being the
I know Halo 4 undersuit that people have gotten to has been just making those muscle suits.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen, there's been a few of them floating around that created a full muscle suit. And I think that's probably the closest thing that I've seen to the tech suit.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
And then we also have, I mean, he posted on Halo Props, so I think it's okay to say Phil.
Yes.
Yes. So, I mean, unfortunately, he's making the female undersuit like human size, and then he's making the male undersuit Spartan size, which is like for us who are about 5'8" down, it
doesn't do us
kind of sucks.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest,
I'm thinking about just wearing a female undersuit just because it's my height. I'm gonna hide it with some big chest plate or something.
Yeah. Thinking about
it really will require some serious sculpting and molding and casting in order to pull off something like that for everyone. You know, and at probably a pretty decent cost. You know, a dye sub-printed undersuit I can get for anywhere between $120, $180 these days. But to get something that's fully sculpted with a lot of extra detail, and then you've got to figure out how to get your stuff to mount to it after the fact. You know, that's a pretty involved process. And I know most of us spend a lot of time on our armors already as it is. I have a life outside of Halo too. But, you know, my last suit was 200 hours plus. So, you know, I'm getting a little faster and I'm getting a little better at it. But, you know, we all want good results, maximum value for the least amount of time.
Yeah. And a lot of it boils down to this balance. And I think the community is excellent at bringing people in, but I think, you know, people might have to turn to looking at legacy games to start with, you know, cosplay. And if people want you to go in and make a Halo 4 or Halo 5 Spartan suit, that learning curve is dramatically increased as a result, which might maybe put off some cosplayers, maybe. Or maybe you might have those who are up for a challenge, but who knows? It's a really interesting topic. I think the guys, and I can see Danielle's EVA, which is fucking awesome. We will get onto that in a quick moment. What I'd like you to do next, I don't want this video to run on too long, is I would like everybody, I'm putting some of you on the spot, to think of your favourite 3 things you've constructed. I'll receive some photos later, so I will put them on the screen for you guys to see. And also, like I said, links are in the description for all their work and everything that they do. Now, I'm going to put, who should I put on the first spot? I'm going to just close my eyes and land on a name, and it is Sage. Sage, would you like to do the honors?
So my most favorite prop that I've made so far right now would be my focus rifle, and actually I'll grab it real quick and pull it up to the camera.
If you didn't freeze, but yeah, you did. Awesome.
So yeah, this is my most favorite. Right, this is my most favorite prop right here. That one took only a week for me to make, and then my Halo Reach armor would probably be my second favorite right now, and then my third favorite. It's not even my Halo thing. It's my my Destiny Warlock. But if I were to choose a third Halo thing that I've made, that's my favorite. I'd probably say it's my Spiker.
Sweet. I'll get a photo of that later as well. I tell you my favourite things, but like I said, I don't have much talent. I have a cool little Halo collection, but that's about it. I'm sure you guys can look through your favourite Fletch Ultimate Halo videos on the website. So I will go to on this one. We'll go to Danielle. What are your favourite 3? And I can see something pretty awesome in the background, so shed a bit of light.
I'm going to start off by shouting out Rusty Rush Props, who actually printed the helmet for me. That wasn't me. That's a 3D print from Rusty. I just finished it up. He did awesome work, so major props to him. But I've only made 2 Halo suits. So I made Chief and Kelly, the Halo 4 Chief and obviously Halo 5 Kelly. And then my 3rd item would be the assault rifle I made to go along with Chief, all free-handed out of foam. I was pretty proud with how it came out.
Awesome. We'll see pictures of that on the screen. Jose, what are your favourite 3?
My favorite 3 Halo props are probably the first one that I worked on was the second one that I worked on was the Halo 4 Locust helmet. I started that one from a Pepakura file. That was a total pain in the ass to make because of all the curves, the jaw, the teeth it has. So it has a ton of little indents and whatnot. So a lot of resculpting had to go into that file. But I think the Locust helmet was probably one of my favorite helmets that I made today, just because of how different it looks from all the other helmets. It doesn't look like your typical just army look style helmet. It's got that skull look to it. It's got that huge dome on the front with there's no eyes or anything like that. And I don't know, I've got this fascination with helmets that have no visors. It's just it's really cool for some reason to me when you get those type of helmets. The second helmet that I have to say was my favorite was the ODST helmet. I think when it comes to being a Spartan or an ODST, there's a huge group of ODST fans, and I'm one of those. I'm a huge ODST fan. I originally started as a Spartan just because, everyone wanted to be a Spartan, but you grow to appreciate the Spartan or the ODST a lot more because they're the first in line, and there's just no real huge techie armor on them. They've got a helmet and a gun and they're ready to go. So that was probably one of my favorite helmets to build just because I ended up building a huge passion for it. And just being able to bring that one to life was a real huge, goal of mine. And it was really fun. The third one was a 3D printed helmet, and it was the Halo 4 Recon helmet. And I've been having a lot of fun with that one because of the new add-ons that Halo 5 had to offer, which was the glow visor.
That was awesome when you posted all of that. That's my favorite thing from you right now.
Mm-hmm.
Those are definitely a lot of fun to make. It's a little challenging, but I mean, it's definitely worth it in the end.
And we've frozen.
Oh boy,
That was so dramatic.
What was that?
Yeah, he froze. So you said, and
Frozen.
Oh, I froze? My bad.
Yeah.
I don't know where I left off. I'll just say it again. Again, Halo 5 really brought the helmets to life with just that single feature, because when you see the Spartan put it on, the visor comes to life. And that's when okay, Spartan's active. There was that trailer where Master Chief gets knocked down by the huge building and his visor shuts off. And you automatically think, oh shit, Chief's dead. And then they pick him up and wham, there goes the visor, comes to life. It lights up and it's like, Spartan's active, So when it came to the Halo 4 Recon helmet, we brought that over to Halo 5. Sorry about your EOD there.
Coming back,
Robert. But cool to be able to see that feature added because it definitely adds to challenge. I definitely love a challenge when it comes to building anything from Halo, which I think is what they're doing. 343 is definitely challenging the cosplay community with their new armors. And it's just one of those helmets that just looks really aerodynamic, very sleek, very edgy, just a very cool helmet overall. One of my favorites. And I think that started from Halo Reach when they had the Flame Recon. And that's kind of where I've always gone towards. The first helmet I ever built was the Halo Reach Recon. It wasn't difficult because it was very...
Frozen?
Uh-oh.
Sorry, I'll cut it out. It's fine. Yeah, we'll wait for him. Wait for him to come back.
He always phrases it like the most dramatic times.
Yeah, you froze again, Jose, but it's okay.
Am I cutting out again?
Yeah, it's okay. Just continue where you were. You built the Reach helmet, and I'll cut through the rest.
Oh, snap. Okay, yeah. So the first helmet I built was the Reach helmet, and it wasn't that difficult because it was a lot more flat. It had a lot more flat surfaces on it. But when it came to the Halo 4 helmet, the Halo 4 Recon, it was obviously a bigger challenge because of all the little details they had to add on it to make it look prettier. But it was definitely a very fun challenge for me.
Yeah. No, I mean, it goes back to the age-old question: can I has Recon, please? So
yes, you can.
Give me it. I'll take it. I'll give you my address for a fee, of course.
Shoot me a message, man. We'll talk.
Yeah. I'm not going to say no. Well, we'll arrange something. Kaitlin, what are your favourite three?
My most favorite thing I've made probably has to be my helmet, my Reach helmet. It's the Master Chief Reach version.
Okay, yeah.
I made it out of foam, which was probably a mistake, but because it's kind of fragile, but it's also like I am impressed with myself whenever I look at it because I had no idea what I was doing, and I think it came out pretty well for a foam helmet. I free-handed it pretty much. Like I didn't use any pep files or anything, and I'm really happy with it. Like as I was making it, I was like, I have no idea how this is going to turn out. Like I just had to keep going through it at like the best ideas that I had to just see how it turned out, and it actually came out pretty well, and it fit me well. Because I can't really order like casts of helmets because they're going to look gigantic on me probably.
I'm in the same boat.
I had to make but I had mine.
So you winged it basically.
What?
You winged it basically. You just did it as it went.
I winged it and it came out like the best that it could, I think. And then my Reach Magnum also winged it and it came out pretty well. I think that's probably my favorite weapon that I've made. I haven't made any weapons since then, which is kind of weird. But because I know Sage likes to make a lot of weapons, but you use the other foam, so.
Yeah. I'm probably I look like an alien Republican if you guys get that joke right there. Because I have so many guns.
Yeah. And then my third is probably just the Reach boots that I made. Because I just love the design of the boots in Halo Reach. And they're so gigantic. And there's high heels in mine, which I got the idea from Little Tyrant because her stuff is crazy awesome. And which makes it very hard to wear and to walk. There's like gigantic wedge heels in there, but it makes the armor around it look huge and awesome.
That would be great. Yes, a Spartan in high heels.
Yeah. No one knows. I'm like so tall in my armor, and they're like, I didn't know you're that tall. I'm like, I'm not.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome. We're just gonna we've done you, Sage, and Robert. Would you like to explain your favorite three?
Yeah, I think for me, my Reach armor that I built, just because it was my first set, probably my favorite. my EOD PEP helmet. Probably my favorite. What I liked about the Reach armor was the ability to customize all the little bits and stuff to make it uniquely you. It's not like you were just picking a helmet that was associated with an armor. You got to actually pick all the bits on it. So all the little lights and everything that are in them, that's what makes it fun for me. Really do. This is my jam. I'm all about the EODs. Have been from day one, the minute they rolled out in Halo 3. But this is my
got one of yours, Robert, right here.
Come to find out a number of years ago that my father, before he passed, had alluded to me that he was involved with an EOD unit when he was in the military. So it was pretty exciting to know that as well. And within the last year, I've actually been able to put on a K9 EOD tech suit. Pretty amazing weight item, about 120 pounds. Secondly would be my HAZOP helmet, which Jose was just showing there. This was my first foray into the 3D print world for making a mold and then casting it. I really enjoyed the cleanup process and learning a little bit more about this, being able to get all that wonderful detail that's associated. So this was my first realm into the resin world outside of fiberglass. Thirdly would be my HAZOP armor itself, because this was my first foray into foam, which I had not played with, and to be able to get all of those shapes. And so this was a mixture of PEP files to get the base, and then a whole lot of reference material I had pasted to my wall while I was carving and cutting and doing all the detail. I learned a lot of techniques here, and I have a lot of great friends to teach me some things along the way. So really, really pleased with how well this came out. Just the ability to play with new materials, do different things. Another example, another favorite of mine, which is my Halo Reach knife. This is all done in Centro, which is a plastic. It was just laminated together with solvents. Really, really great item, just to try to push myself and test some new skills as well. So
probably get arrested in the UK for having something like that. So you're not really allowed guns. You're not allowed handguns. You're not allowed. If you have a gun, you need to have in a certain cabinet. Your ammo needs to be a certain cabinet locked away with a certain lock. Quite strict over in the UK. Let's not get into that discussion anyway. We won't discuss gun laws because that is a controversial one. So we'll leave that one where it is. But
besides, you can't be a Spartan without a knife.
Yeah. So yeah, just overall, the one thing, and thank you for those who have actually managed to watch all the way through this. Wow, I've learned a lot actually. It's really all about the sort of the things where cosplayers are a thing. They're really talented guys. You should absolutely really get invested and have a look at that sub community, because the talent in there is incredible. Also, just to give an insight of what hurdles they're coming over at the moment, the pros and cons of 343's new art style, for better or worse, and just examples of the work, because it's art, it's talent, and it should be shared. And that's one thing Ultimate Halo has always been about. We know a lot of people with a lot of talent, and we like to shout that about, so they get the rightful credit they deserve. Guys, we're going to have to wrap it up here as a video. I would like to thank you all so much. This is going to be an awesome sort of spectacle for the fans. It's been an absolute pleasure. So once again, guys, this has been Fletch here with Danielle, Jose, Kaitlin, Sage, and Robert, all very fantastic cosplayers. I hope you all enjoyed the podcast, and I will see you in the next one. Jeff Steitzer, roll in.
Subscribe now to Ultimate Halo for more unfriggin' believable Halo content.